Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be if you don't date your girl, some other guy will. So, this particular email is from a guy he read 3% Man 15 times 5 years ago. And then a year after that, he got into a relationship of 4 years with his now ex girlfriend. And he admits that he did all of his studying a year before he met this girl. And he says he never went back to the book. And a big part of what you do, just like when you look at how an NFL player practices the playbook, the guys that play on offense, they study the playbook, they go out in the field, they practice what's in the playbook, they film it, the coaches film it, they review the film to see what they did right, what they did wrong, what they need to do differently, and then they go back out in the practice field again and practice the same plays to get better at it. Repetition is the mother of skill. You can't read my book 15 times and just say, I got this, and then a year or two later get into a relationship with a girl and think it's going to go real smoothly. And so this guy made the classic mistake that pretty much 99% of the guys that are having problems in their relationships, long-term relationships, they stop dating and courting their girl, and they don't make her feel heard and understood. And that can only go on for so long before eventually you neglect a woman long enough and for enough months and enough years, eventually they're going to come across a guy who's going to come along and date them for you. Women want to be in a love story. They know that if you care, that you will date and court them. If you guys have ever read the book, I think it's Why Men Love Bitches. That particular book, there's a big chapter in there. It's like if you get 100 women together in a room, the biggest complaint that they have in long-term relationships is the guy's romantic at first, and then he stops. Why is that? And it's like pretty much all guys do it, and the average guy just thinks, hey, well, we're at a different phase in the relationship. I don't have to do all that stuff anymore. Wrong. The courtship never ends. There's a chapter in the book about that. And if you're not reading the book and practicing it and applying it, you're just not going to get better. Because if it's been a year, like in this case, he read it 15 times, but a whole year went by before he even met this girl. So where's the practice of learning what's in the book to get better? He just assumed that he had it down because things went so well at first, but as he got into the relationship, he got lazy and complacent by his own admission. And then so they broke up, and then a week later he finds out she's sleeping with a guy who was just a friend. So if you want to avoid something like that, you got to remember, you always got to date your girlfriend or wife because eventually some other guy will. And based on her character level, a woman who has good character is going to end the relationship and then start dating somebody else. A woman who's a liar and a cheater will just start sleeping with somebody else or several guys behind your back. And then once she finds one she really likes, she'll blow you off. And then next thing you'll know, you'll find out she's in a relationship with somebody else because she left you to be with that other guy. So high character women are going to end their relationship, maybe be single for a while, and then start dating somebody else. Low character women will cheat on you and not care at all. And they'll still take half your shit if you're married and not feel any remorse for it because they're mad and they're upset that you didn't date and court them. It's the way it is. Just telling you how it is, whether you like it or not. You cannot be in a relationship with a woman long term. Women are not going to stay with you because they were a virgin when you met them or they had a low body count. Any guy that does this in a long-term relationship with an attractive woman who stays fit and in shape is not going to be able to keep her. Eventually, she's going to leave him. Eventually, she'll either leave him or if she's a low-character woman, she'll cheat on him and then leave him. This is just life. This is reality. There's so many dudes in the red pill community make such a big deal out of this and hypergamy and this and that. And you can't not date your girl long term. It's delusional to think because you got married or you're in a commitment or you have kids that if it's a virgin or a low body count woman, she's just never going to leave you. That's just absolutely absurd and ridiculous. I've done thousands of phone sessions over the years where guys dated a young girl. She might have been a virgin or only had one or two boyfriends, and they still got cheated on. They still got left. It's just a fact. You have to date and court your girl always. Always, 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 or it's going to end. And usually it's going to be her that's going to end it. And depending on her character level is going to determine how messy or how clean the breakup is going to be. In this case, the breakup is a little cleaner than most, but it's obvious she was talking to this guy before she broke it off. He says, I'm reaching out. Hi, Coach. I'm reaching out to you from Italy to provide an update on my recent 4-year relationship, which ended badly. In retrospect, there were red flags I overlooked, and I've gained insights now by revisiting your book. 5 years ago, I read it 15 times, but I neglected to revisit it over the following years. Yeah, guys that are really successful usually will go through it at least once or twice a year just to refresh their memory. Because they care. Because they care about their girl, they care about their relationships, and they want to maintain it. 4 years ago, at the age of 21, I met a 19-year-old girl who had a toxic relationship marked by abuse and control. She left her previous partner only after falling in love with me. He says, no cheating, but red flag. Huh? She left her previous partner only after falling in love with me. No cheating, but a red flag. So what does that mean? You were hanging out and you were just a friend? But you say he's just a friend. So this is a clear pattern. You were the replacement for the ex. So maybe him no cheating was they didn't kiss, or maybe they didn't sleep together. I don't know what his definition of that was, but that doesn't look good. It just looks like he ripped off some other dude's girl. Her family situation is also bad with many liars and cheaters. Oh, what a shock. Red flag, he says. Such as her gay dad who dates other men but is still married to her mother. That sounds lovely. During the first month of our relationship, she rebelled against her toxic past by partying and drinking. Red flag. I was a more mature guy, so I made it clear that such behavior wasn't acceptable. So he set a boundary, and he said, you need to knock it off, or we're not going to continue. She transformed into a great communicator, responsible and caring woman, because obviously, at least at that time, she respected you for putting her in her place. And she listened to what Daddy told her, which is you, obviously. She always supported me, and I did it too with her studies and with her life. I helped her forgive her family, helped her quit smoking, and adopt a healthy lifestyle. So those are signs of a woman who admires and respects the guy that she's with, or at least at that time she respected you. We quickly moved in together due to our shared university. Well, I wouldn't have done that so quickly, but life happens. We talked about the future and marriage. She is still studying while I graduated and started working. In the fourth and final year, I began to take her for granted as I focused on building a future for us. In other words, I became a money mule and stopped dating and courting her and being romantic. The biggest complaint that all women in long-term relationships tend to have. He was romantic at first, and then he just stopped. Women complain about it, and the guy's like, I'm busy, I'm doing this for us, and we're going to save money. I just took you to a bed and breakfast 3 months ago. It was an expensive trip. I'm trying to save money. And all she hears is, nothing's going to change. You're not worth the time and the effort to go on a date. Working 3 jobs and becoming stressed and depressed. I became complacent. I neglected to court her. I spent less quality time together and failed to notice her suffering. Typically, when you experience pain in a relationship, it's because you're focusing on yourself. I decided to become an entrepreneur and move to a different city. So now he's moving away. In addition to neglecting her, now he's not even in the same place. He moved away. She suffered, but also encouraged me for our better future. We spent 2 months apart, during which she rekindled a friendship with a male friend to not worry about, in quotes he says. But you say he's just a friend. You have to date and court your girl. I mean, this went on for what? A year, 2 years, halfway into the relationship, he just completely checked out. Didn't date, court her, and moved away. So he totally neglected her. Every woman has got a time limit on that. Typically, when you're going through a difficult period, most women, because I've been doing this for almost 2 decades now, will give you about 6 to 12 months. And that's women that have been in a 20, 30-year marriage. Same thing. You can't flail around for more than 6 to 12 months before they totally lose respect and attraction for you, for the fact, especially when you got kids and stuff and you got obligations. You just can't flail around like that as a man. If you started out as a competent man and then you start acting incompetent, eventually a woman's going to leave you. It doesn't matter about her body count being low or that she was a virgin. If the shit just continues to go on and you do nothing to fix it, eventually she's going to leave you for somebody else. That's a fact of life. Women want to be in a love story. If you end the love story because you don't make an effort anymore, you should not be surprised that your girl leaves you. It has nothing to do with hypergamy. Even though the red pill guys go berserk over that stuff and they repeat it and they constantly are vomiting all over my page because it's a cope. It's a cope for the fact that they bitched out on their responsibilities. I'm just telling you the way it is. I'm just a messenger. You can accept it or not, or you can continue to cry about women's true nature. We went on a beautiful 15 days vacation, but 2 weeks later, she expressed that her feelings had diminished due to my behavior over the past year. I hastily attributed this to her possible interest in the male friend. She denied it, and I quickly admitted my shortcomings. I lost my center, and I became needy, and I was saying things like, if you don't love me anymore, we should break up. She's talking to another guy, and you're like, hey, we should break up. That'll fix it. Rather than be a man and make her fall in love again, while instead she was just trying to communicate and work on it. When a woman feels heard and understood, the legs open, and when she doesn't, the legs close. We went on another vacation after 5 days, but I was unable to be lighthearted. I was focused on problems instead of a connection. Well, love is playful and fun. It doesn't sound like much fun was happening. He says, we didn't even kiss. Yeah, you go on a vacation for 5 days, you're not kissing her, you're not touching her at all. It's like, Elvis has left the building. After the vacation, she asked for a break, and I told her that I didn't want it, even though he suggested it, and we could work on the relationship. She, however, saw this negation of the break as a break up. 2 weeks of no contact followed, and then I went to her house to surprise her in a bid to win her back. She was unwilling to continue with our relationship, and I discovered from her phone that she slept with the male friend just 1 week into the break up. Well, it sounds like she asked for a break so she could explore things. So in other words, I may come back if it doesn't work out with this other guy, but I'm pretty much going to dip on you. She also had reverted to her previous unhealthy habits, lying, smoking, drinking. Character's destiny. I say it all the time. You can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And remember, he was the guy that he basically did this to another dude. He was the side piece. He said she left the guy she was with before me only once she fell in love, but hey, there was no cheating. I don't know what mental gymnastics he was doing or what he left out, but you basically ripped off another dude's girl. And so karma, the way it works is now your girl got ripped off by another guy. So congratulations. You reaped what you sowed. I reacted emotionally, cried, blaming her for betraying her principles and accusing her of ending forever the relationship, although I acknowledged my fault. I left and reached out to her parents, thanking them and expressing concern for their daughter. Their lack of response left me wondering about her version of events. Yeah, she was probably complaining for years that you were neglecting her, you weren't dating her, you ignored her, you didn't really want to talk to her. And so at that point, the parents were really probably tired of hearing about her complaining about it. And so they were relieved for her and figured, hey, well, hopefully she'll move on, find a guy that actually is willing to make consistent effort. So what you do when you behave this way, when you're good for a year or two and then you stop, you displayed all the signs of a man who is incompetent and undisciplined. And the number one most important thing that women find attractive in men is confidence. And when you display nothing but incompetence and being undisciplined, they're not going to trust you. They're not going to trust your masculine core. And the fact that she started smoking and drinking and doing all those things that she quit for you in the beginning shows how much respect that she lost for you. And if a woman doesn't respect you, she's not going to love you. I'm actively working on self-improvement, no contact, but I'm pretty sure she's now dating this guy. But what should I do if the new guy messes up and she comes back, since we technically broke up a week before her new relationship? Is she for the streets? Well, I mean, this is how she's going to behave. If you treat her good, she'll be loyal and faithful. If she respects you, she'll probably be loyal and faithful. But if you neglect her for several years and don't date and court her, and then you move away and leave her all alone, it's like, what do you think's going to happen? So this is how a woman with character flaws is going to treat you when you don't date and court her properly and she doesn't feel heard and understood. She's going to light up a replacement when you're together. I mean, you were the replacement for her ex-boyfriend. Maybe you only consummated the relationship when she ended it with him. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what mental gymnastics he went through to justify it, but he was obviously dating and courting her to steal her from another guy. And now that basically the same thing has happened to him. So he did it to himself. So like I said, I've been saying this for years. Women that behave this way, this is what they do. You treat them good, they're going to be probably loyal and faithful to you. But you slack off for extended periods of time, she's going to line up somebody else and feel no remorse. Because quite frankly, you taught her that this is okay because you did this to some other guy. And now it's being done to you. And so it's your life. You can do what you want. But the reality is, even if you get back together with her, if you neglect her and you stop dating and courting her again, she's going to do the exact same thing with another guy. And it's like, it's up to you whether you want to date her or give her another chance or not. But no matter who the woman is, you neglect her for long enough, eventually she's going to leave you or she's going to cheat on you. It all depends on her character. And from this girl, we know that she'll cheat on you first. And again, he left out details about how she fell in love with him, but there was no cheating going on. That just sounds absurd. So you reap what you sow in life, man. You steal some other guy's girl, you shouldn't be surprised when some other dude comes along and steals her from you. Statistically, 95% of the relationships that begin based on cheating, they end in cheating. And that's, in essence, what happened here. It is what it is. You got to put your big boy pants on, and it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to give her another chance. I'm a coach. I teach the fundamentals of what creates attraction, and I can teach you about the character issues, and it's up to you whether or not you want to deal with them. So if you got a question or challenge, or you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.